Thank you very much for staying with us on independent television. Of course, you know, this is a very special moment for ITV Radio because it's the birthday celebration period of our Chairman Managing Director, His Excellency Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Osagie Ehanire, the Isama of Benin. Tomorrow is the D-Day, and you expect that on a day like this, there will be an influx of dignitaries from across the world converging on Benin City to be part of that historic occasion. And so today, we have a special guest in the studio featuring on our special interview series. This man is not just a medical practitioner, he's a globally acknowledged surgeon with specialization in anesthesiology, general surgery, and of course, orthopedic trauma surgery. He was the Coordinator General of Buhari Support Organization in the pre-2015 general election. I have the singular honor and privilege to welcome to our studios here Dr. Osagie Ehanire, who is a son of the soil, like we say in Benin, Orie Dok Bataki. Doc, many thanks for joining us on independent television and radio. We truly appreciate this visit and this interview series. How are you doing?
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. I'm doing fine, thank you.
Okay, you're a son of the soil, but by virtue of your new portfolio, the new task assigned to you by President Buhari, you stay mostly in Abuja. So tell us, why are you in Benin today?
Well, I'm here in Benin on the occasion you just mentioned to felicitate with His Excellency Chief Dr. Osagie Ehanire on his birthday. I'm here first in my personal capacity on behalf of my family, the Ehanire family, and above all as a representative of His Excellency the President of the Federal Republic, General Muhammadu Buhari, who assigned me to represent him at this occasion and bring best wishes to Chief Dr. Ehanire.
So in a nutshell, I'm actually talking with His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari right now.
A representative, yes.
Okay, you say you are in Benin to felicitate with the Isama of Benin. I'm sure you've also had a very deep history about the Isama of Benin. Can you tell us what is that striking thing about him that endears him to you more as an individual, as a person?
Well, Chief Ehanire is somebody who I also have known for a long time. He was a very good friend of my father. They belonged to a society called the Versatile Six, and a frequent visitor to our house. So, and also I've been to his house several occasions, so there's a family link. He is a man of great foresight, a man of vision. He's a man who has had a lot of interest in business and in politics and in economy. Okay. One of the greatest contributors to the economic growth of Edo State. Man who has also made left his footsteps in politics and social and cultural growth of Edo. He's a man who has, you can describe as an icon of society.
Okay, at 84, what's your message to the Isama, the celebrant?
Well, my message is you have done very well, keep doing it. I visited him yesterday and had the opportunity to have a very private chat with him. And he's doing very well, his health is good, to keep at it and continue the good works you are doing.
Any advice to other well-meaning Edo people against the background of the impact the Isama has made? Any advice to other well-meaning Edo people?
Yes, I will say to, and I believe all Edo people are well-meaning, work hard, do your best, invest in your people, invest in your city, invest in your state, the way the Isama has done. He has built schools, he has built a university, he has built a hospital, he's an employer of labor, and that is kind of faith that you have in your fatherland. And for those who are in a position to do that, I also advise that you do the same. Rather than invest elsewhere, outside the country, have faith in your fatherland.
The D-Day is tomorrow, which is September 11. What are your expectations for tomorrow?
Well, I'm expecting a joyous occasion. Chief Ehanire usually has a very early morning service, and that is the official representation that I am going to be engaged in. I expect a day of thanksgiving, a day of celebration, and a day also gathering of family and friends to mark the day and felicitate with the chief.
Okay, just to add that, tomorrow, international gospel singer Sinach, who is already in Benin City, will be performing live at the early morning due interdenominational church service to mark the Isthmus of Benin. And you can catch up with Sinach later today on the ITV main news. We'll be having a chat with her as well. Well, right here I have the Honorable Minister of State for Health, Dr. Osagie Ehanire, with me live. Doc, once again, thank you for coming, Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much for having me.
In the pre-2015 election, you were the arrowhead of the campaign for President Buhari. Eventually, he won that election overwhelmingly. Looking at him as a person, what are those key qualities and characteristics that endeared you to him?
Well, there are the key characteristics that many people who support him also see: a man of integrity, a man of honesty, a man who gives his word and stands by his word. Above all, a man who has concern, and you can see that concern in him, concern for his country, and concern for the people. And in everything that he does and says, you see that the people are the ones who come first before personal interest. You see that it provides leadership, galvanizes people, and tries to bring people together. Unfortunately, there are people who try to give him a rather bad rep and try and put on his doorstep a lot of things which he is not responsible for. Much of it is founded definitely in the area of politics, but what is called politics. But by and large, is a man who means very well for this country.
Today, looking at those characteristics that endeared you to him, which you said...
Endeared him to me.
Yes, okay, endeared him to you, which you said many other people also saw in him. Are you satisfied with the level of expectations that you had, that you looked at those qualities and then you frontally campaigned for him? Are you satisfied with the level of achievement recorded so far by the present administration?
Yes, I am. And if you want to make a comment on that, you have to look at where he's coming from. He met multiple challenges when he took office, and I'm sure, and he has said it himself also, that the challenges were far more than he actually expected. If you are building a house from level ground, you know how far it goes before people start to see.
Okay.
But I think Buhari started from below ground. There was no money in the treasury, and we had a lot of debts, and we're importing everything from food to petroleum and energy crisis. So he had a really lot of challenges that had to deal with. And if you put all of that in context, the journey which was straight into recession was reversed. And right now we're on the path of growth, economic growth and productivity. Importation of food has been largely reduced. Right now, I said grow what we eat, okay. And we grow a lot of what we eat. Food security in the country, we are less import dependent. The Minister of Agriculture said the other day that we're about 80% self-sufficient now in rice, as opposed to before. The energy crisis is all but gone, and the productivity is increasing. Other areas of agriculture, transportation, electricity, they are all taking shape. So a lot is going on, which will actually, because of the long gestation period, not be very visible until a few years' time. If you are building roads and railways and dams, it takes a while before you begin to see something. But they are all in the pipeline. And this country is, I believe, the threshold of the most massive infrastructure development in its history. Okay. And we begin to see signs of that within the next few years.
These gains that you talked about, have they in any way influenced the international community in terms of several invitations that the President has got in recent times on state visits.
The international community is very observant. They look at what's going on everywhere. They knew what Nigeria was like before. They knew what it's like now. They know the challenges where we are coming from. And they see what good is being made of the money that we earn. Most of it is going into development of the country. And they admire it. They know that Nigeria has a large population. We have to cater to 198 million as at last count. And that involves education, health, as I said before, food security, and they respect the gains we have made so far. So not only do they want to encourage the President, they also really want to take a good observation at how he's approaching the problems and see what lessons can be learned, not only for themselves, but also to recommend to other countries in Africa. Yes, he's a highly respected man internationally, and the respect in Nigeria is also increasing dramatically too.
In terms of performance, which of course you've highlighted, which aspect of governance appeals to you most in terms of impact made by the present administration?
Well, the first and most obvious thing will be agriculture, because you have to eat. And we're spending, as the Minister of Agriculture told us, up to $5 million a day on rice importation. That is a lot of money. With the crash in oil prices, Nigeria was actually going near food crisis. So the large emphasis placed on agriculture, including heavy investment, was to reverse that trend so that people don't go hungry. We don't want to declare a hunger emergency in Nigeria. That was really a big performance to improve also the production of vegetables and wheat, which is used for flour, which we use a lot for our bread. And so that aspect of it really worked, and we have been able to raise the production of rice to such an extent now that the exportation of rice from Nigeria has in fact also started. Okay. We hear that neighboring countries coming here with trailers to buy rice, and the quality is very good. So farmers are very happy, they're making money. Farmers are making they are earning dollars. Okay. And so that's the number one achievement. The second, of course, is the area of energy security. You know, the fuel crisis you used to have, the long lineup. I see you smiling. I'm sure you can remember that. That is gone. In the last few years, you don't see fuel queues anymore. And in the next few months, let us say, that will be almost off the mark when our refining capacity hits 100% and of our requirement, and we're ready to start exporting. So the energy crisis is gone, the food crisis is gone, and these are, in the first instance, the most important achievements of this government.
Can the same thing be said for insecurity and the fight against corruption, in your opinion?
Well, the fight against corruption is a long-winded fight. Unfortunately, Nigeria had grown into a sort of polka tradition where everything revolved around money. Everything had to do with paying this or paying that, and that encouraged money under the table. And the fight against corruption is something that the President takes very seriously, and it's not only for moral reasons, but it's simply for the fact that corruption is damaging. It does a lot. With corruption, black turns to white and white turns to black, and that distorts everything you want to do. So it's for practical reasons you have to fight corruption and give those who actually have earned it a chance to grow, and those who are not where they're supposed to be will step down to their own level. So as far as money is concerned, it also provides more resources for what the government wants to do. You have a large workforce that were not being paid regularly. Since this government came, salaries have been regular. There have even been bailouts given to states who were not solvent. Okay. So as far as the workers are concerned, they really have a reason to smile and be grateful that the salaries are taken care of and paid on time. That is one of the cardinal directives that the President gave. So the activities around labor unions have slowed down. So we don't see too much of unrest there anymore. But as far as the security issue is concerned, you know that in the Niger Delta, there's also been relative peace. No more vandalization of pipelines. In the northeast, there has been much progress. The activities of the insurgents there has been halted. They control 14 local governments, which have all been reclaimed. There are still lots of sporadic firefights here and there, which are being contained. There's a strategy to contain all of it. So the issue of insecurity is receiving attention, but this, with a country of 198 million, policing is not easy. Okay. And the police and the security forces are growing to be able to take control of the situation.
What do you make of the perception that the integrity and characters or qualities of Mr. President is incontestable, but part of the challenge with the present administration is like maybe some people who are with him do not share in his objectives and his ideals in terms of how to drive this country to where it ought to be?
Well, there are some people who are with him because they share his views. There are others who probably didn't share his views and work with him and begin to learn to share his views. So there are many who are really beginning to understand where he's going, and they are working with him very closely to understand his style of administration. So I believe by and large it is working very well. The press, of course, likes to have their own say on these things, and a lot of it is...
Is it the press that is having their own say, or maybe...
Well, their own interpretation of things.
Okay.
So the people sit and have their own interpretation of things.
Okay.
So not all of it really has substance, and not all of it should be taken at face value.
If you just join us, you're on to the special interview series on independent television and radio. Our special guest today is the Honorable Minister of State for Health, Dr. Osagie Ehanire, our own son, son of the soil, sharing some thought with us on vital national issues. Dr. Ehanire, many thanks again for coming for this interview.
My good pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Let's look at your ministry, which is the Ministry of Health. What are the quick wins? What are the quick testimonies we can talk about in terms of health issues, policies, initiatives?
Well, the first is a readiness to contain diseases of public health importance. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control has been created and strengthened, and now responds to disease outbreaks in a very rapid way, whether it is monkeypox or Lassa fever or whatever it is. The response is rapid and quick, and there's a lot of progress also in primary health care. The healthcare delivery in this country was heavily focused on tertiary healthcare, on university teaching hospitals, federal medical centers, etc., where probably 20 to 30% of the citizens attend, and to the neglect of a large percentage of the country who live in the countryside in rural area. Now, this government decided to focus more on primary health care to create opportunity for rural dwellers to go to get hospital care in their own environment. The policy direction sees the construction of one functional primary health care center in every political ward. That will give you about 9,800, about nearly 10,000
primary health care centers.
Primary health care centers.
Okay.
To be staffed, equipped, and by the time they're fully functional, they should be taking care of up to 60–70% of all the health needs of rural dwellers, to reduce the maternal mortality, infant mortality, and the under 5 mortality that is plaguing this country at the moment. The cost of healthcare will also be reduced, because those who have to pay heavy transport fares to get to UBTH or other tertiary institutions can have it much nearer to them. The administration of these primary health care centers will be joint effort between federal, state, and local government to improve demand and utilization. And we do believe that when it's fully functional, the health indices will improve tremendously.
Where are we in terms of this new policy drive under the present administration as it relates to primary healthcare center? 60%, 40%? Where are we?
Let us, we can put that, but what you can say about 40, 50%. But what's important is that this very year, for the first time, we're able to get what we have been looking for, that is the National Health Act provided for 1% of consolidated revenue fund to drive primary health care, to provide a basic package of health service, which we are working on implementing now.
Okay.
Now, this will provide antenatal care, malaria treatment, infant treatment, and so on, and nutritional advice. So those are the quick wins that will come out of this new policy direction. It will also greatly increase the fiscal space for the health sector because it brings in more money and more resources, and will also increase the spread of service from mainly the cities to provinces and to villages, and bring the service closer to the people.
So in a nutshell, we are on course as far as primary healthcare center development is concerned.
We are fully on course. We have a lot of interest also from foreign partners who find it very interesting that the government is putting focus on primary health care. And of course, you know that primary health care includes vaccination, immunization, which should reach 80 to 85% of the population within the next few years, and be able to prevent a lot of diseases that we face right now. The funding pattern is still being worked on. We are working with the states to strengthen the state health insurance schemes. The National Health Insurance Scheme is also growing.
Okay.
It right now covers less than 5%, but it's going to include the informal sector and be able to bring in more resources to drive healthcare across the country for most Nigerians.
Let's talk a bit of politics. I mean, we can't take that away.
No, you can't.
Okay. 2019 is just around the corner. There are feelings, there are opinions that governance has now been sacrificed on the altar of 2019 politics. So what are your thoughts?
No, governance is not a sacrifice at all. Governance is going on very strongly. And the politicking, as we call it, goes on by the side. It's a side event.
So what are your expectations of 2019 elections in terms of conduct against the issues that have dominated national discourse as it relates to 2019?
Well, first of all, my expectation is that the president will get his ticket and get his nomination and get his be voted in for his second term to continue the good work he's doing. My expectation is also that this whole election process and what goes around it is peaceful, it is done in a civilized way, and that it doesn't need to lead to loss of lives or to violence. Those are my expectations. Interesting.
If you just join us, you're on to the special interview series on independent television and radio. Our special guest is the Honorable Minister of State for Health, Dr. Osagie Ehanire, sharing some views and perspectives on some key national issues. And let me come back to you. Your expectations are high as far as 2019 is concerned. Let's talk about your party. Not too long ago, your party took a decision on the process of emergence of candidates, direct primaries. There's been some divergent views and decisions along those lines. Some states are going for direct primaries, some are going for indirect primaries or consensus, as the case may be. What does this portend for the party in the build-up to the 2019?
Well, I think it's part of the development process of democracy. People in democracy have opinions, and where the opinion is tilting to one side, they take the decision on that side, and if it tilts the other way, they also take a decision. The direct primary that is recommended is something relatively not new, but it's a difference, a paradigm shift. And there are those who are comfortable with it. Some are not comfortable with it. I think it's a good idea to allow the states to decide what they would like to do. I understand that even within states there are some zones that want to decide what they want to, which way they want to go, or even local governments want to decide which way they want to go, whether to do indirect or direct. But by and large, it is part of political development, and the discourses that follows it is healthy. And eventually we also learn lessons, because whichever way predominates will also teach us whether it worked well or not. Whatever worked well will gain ascendancy. What didn't work well will definitely begin to fall by the wayside.
The popularity that greeted the present administration pre-2015 and 2015 down the road, would you say that has been sustained or it has waned within the past 3.5 years?
First, I think that there are people who expected a lot, but they didn't know the challenges that were on the ground. And there are those who were realistic, and they saw what the government started with. And if you look at it across the board, the government has done very well. Those who are realistic will say, yes, the government has performed very well. There are others who expected that things will almost magically change. Price of food will crash, and everything else will just, be easy. But we were working in a situation where, if you remember very well, the oil price had dropped from 120 to about 40. And if you look at that, you have to take one thing into consideration. The cost of oil production, which is about, at that time, at least about $29. So you have to take that out of that oil price. So what you're actually getting, if you were getting $40, was probably $11 a barrel. And also with the drop in volume, because from 2 million barrels a day we had gone to less than 1 million barrels a day. So that was the income that this government had to work with in that period, and take this country out of recession. Now, that they did that one is really a feat in itself, and I believe that those who are very observant give them kudos for it. Particularly, as you said just now, foreign countries who were looking. They say, yeah, this would do very well. They managed the little they have, and did a lot with it. So, yes, this government has done very well. We gained a lot of ground, but I think that even the future is brighter, in the sense that when all the projects going on now begin to mature, you begin to see the difference that is promised. I said before that they take time. If you are building a dam, for example, and the president is passionate about the Mambila Dam, which is, it will almost double the electricity output that we have at the moment. Then Nigeria will be self-sufficient in energy. And in order to industrialize, you need energy sufficiency. You need to have electricity 24/7, good quality electricity. You also need to have security in the country, and you need trained manpower to be able to work in your factories. All those are things that we are working on. I was happy to hear that Governor Baseki of Edo State is also putting emphasis on technical education, particularly at the middle level. There's a real dearth of skilled manpower in this country because there's too much focus on university education. So at the lower level of craftsmen, we're still lacking.
Yeah.
And if we are industrializing, we'll discover that that is a huge problem. And if we see it now, we should begin to address it. And I hope other states who have seen that will take the challenge also.
If you say a while ago that the present administration underestimated what the challenges were at the time it came into power, doesn't that maybe give the impression of lack of adequate preparation for leadership to confront the challenges, as it were?
Yes, well, not underestimated, that's not the word, because to underestimate means you knew what was there. But if you are coming in as not part of the government, you expect that that it's normal, that's a level playing field. But when you get there, you find that it's not. There's a lot of money filtering away through corruption. You expect that there's a foreign reserve there, and there's none. The president has said that several times. He went to the central bank and asked, what do you have? And they said, nothing, only debts. So all you have is debts, and there's no money. So, and the enormity of the problem, the huge expenses of fuel importation and food importation, which I'm saying all over again, and also a lot of importation of redundant things like toothpicks and so on, a lot of luxury items which are not really necessary. And of course, not to talk of the health sector, where many people were showing a lack of confidence in the health sector by going abroad for treatment. We're losing estimated $1 billion, or some people say $2 billion per annum in foreign exchange flight. So these are problems which he confronted. I mean, you can't say underestimate, but you are surprised by the enormity, in that you didn't really expect that things would have degraded to that level. And if they degrade to that level, then there's a lot more to do than you actually thought you were going to meet. That is a challenge.
All right, let's talk a bit more on health. Recently, there's been an epidemic in some states. I can't remember the exact number of states, but the reports coming in certainly not good. What is the Ministry of Health doing to checkmate this?
As I said, the Ministry of Health is working very hard now, particularly with the Center for Disease Control, which is one of the fastest growing agencies in the government, in the Ministry of Health right now. And they're receiving support also from international partners, and particularly the advanced countries who have done a lot of work on disease control. Along with the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, there is a lot of improvement in response to disease. Because when there's an outbreak somewhere, you have to go there, do an investigation, do case finding, and then work out treatment programs. So the rapidity with which you respond will determine also the fatalities that will arise from there. So if you respond in time and detect the cases in time, you save more lives, which is what is going on now. There are some diseases that are almost seasonal. There are diseases you see almost every rainy season, and others that you see during the dry season. And we are learning lessons from there to prepare for them. So we're talking about surveillance, about preparedness, and about improvement in response to these outbreaks.
Okay, I just want to say big thanks to the Honorable Minister of State for Health, Dr. Osagie Ehanire, for sharing part of his evening with us here live on ITV and radio. Well, the birthday of the SMA is tomorrow. You will be there, and you've already given us insight into your expectations on how you expect things to go tomorrow. We just pray that everything works out that way. On a final note, talk to other people, talk to Nigerians, talk to the world, because we're actually watched and listened to globally, courtesy of our live streaming, and then of course on our channels on GoTV and Star Times respectively. Talk to Nigerians about 2019 conduct itself.
Well, 2019 is an election year, and this is not the first election we have held in this country. This is not the only election being held in the world. We need to conduct it peacefully, and we need to accept the will of the people, and we need to try and put in the best men and women that we can find to represent us, because the future of this country depends on the people who represent you and speak for you. And the future of this country, the future of our children, will depend on the leadership that comes out of the people that we elect.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister of Health for State, Dr. Osagie Ehanire, for your time with us. I hope next time you are in town, you'll oblige us with an opportunity like this.
Thank you. I will gladly come and visit you.
Thank you so much.
For coming.
Thank you so much. Well, that's it on our special interview series for today. We thank you for staying with us, for watching and listening on radio. Big thanks to everyone that made this program a huge success. We'll continue now with our broadcast of programs for today on independent television and radio. My name is Sonny Duke Okosun. Thanking you for staying with us. Do have a great day ahead. Please remember to join us at 1 to 13 Okada Avenue, GRA, Benin City tomorrow. Tomorrow is September 11th. That's the D-Day for the birthday celebration of our Chairman, Managing Director, His Excellency, Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Osagie Ehanire, CFR, the Esama of Benin. Is the morning due interdenominational church service. Senach will be live. Senach is already in Benin. We're expecting him here in our new studios to have a chat with us this evening. Once again, we thank you for staying with us. Have a great evening. Bye for now.